All right, so OBS is now recording, and we're probably live actually because it takes Facebook a couple of seconds to get updated anyway.
Oh
Okay,
well, there we go.
yeah, so
Happy,
we're on here and we're
happy
ready to
Monday.
go. Yeah, happy Monday to you too, James. How's your weekend treating you? Have you been busy?
Can't complain.
Yeah.
I got a little bit of Red Dead Redemption in, and now I'm sipping a little bit of whiskey while I play it. That's a whole other conversation we could kind of talk about later on as we go for today's stream.
Sipping whiskey while playing Red Dead Redemption 2 seems like a no-brainer to me.
Yeah, well, I mean, it helps with a couple of things. It helps dull the pain when I get frustrated with certain elements of the game, and it also helps it feel authentic too.
Yeah,
Like
right, exactly. Yeah.
it's just like the Wild West when you're sitting in the comfort of your home and in a recliner playing a video game, video game on TV and imitating the Wild West and sipping whiskey. Yeah, it's exactly the same.
I love it.
So
So what are you working on today? So last week we wrapped up talking a little bit about the origins of Calamity while you were working on the desert scene, and
mhm.
we dove in a little bit into lighting solutions and handling it through After Effects with some post processing work. Take us through where you're at right now.
So I want my goal. I kind of hinted at it last week, but my goal was to kind of flesh out the first three or four shots of Act One by putting in existing elements that I've already kind of created from our past archives, and then work on and then create some new elements too, and then start to try to animate and start to block in some things. Now, again, it's still I would consider what we have here today still rough. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's animation, so we're kind of in that third. We're in production phase, so it's going along, but there's some issues that I still want to fix. But for all intents and purposes for today's stream, we got enough here to talk about, and kind of I can kind of illustrate where I'm heading.
Mm-hmm.
So in last week's episode, I pretty much just had Calamity here by herself, and I didn't have anything else with her. But in the storyboard, this is all kind of boarded out already, where I have Calamity and Chaos hanging out in the desert alone in the scene. If you recall, we kind of started out with a wide pan of the desert here.
Mm-hmm.
Already looking at this, I'm gonna probably add some cacti. Is that the right word for
I
plural?
think I think cacti is the correct plural. So you're just talking about some foreground objects to give a
Yes, the
better sense
foreground
of
objects.
get a little
Also,
bit of parallax going. Yeah.
exactly, and Tinsel needs to be here too.
Oh, okay.
I have him in the storyboard, but not in this current rough animation. But he will eventually get. Is Tinsel he or she? Tell me, Mister Writer. What? Are we assigning a gender to Tinsel? By the way.
At this point, I haven't assigned a gender to Tinsel. I've referred to it as it in the script. Um, and that's about the only answer I've got. It's a motorcycle. It's genderless. It doesn't need a gender. It's beyond gender.
Say for me, as I do with all my vehicles, they always tend to be girls. So for
That
me, Tinsel's sort of a girl in my head, but I
right.
don't want to offend Tinsel either.
I think Tinsel is fine with whatever you feel appropriate for it or her.
With all that, yeah. So I think for another streamcast we'll do, I'm gonna have to sketch out Tinsel anyway, so we can.
We can talk a little bit about that. Yeah, the origins of Tinsel
Yeah, exactly.
and
Um,
yeah. Okay.
well, yeah, but we're not definitely not in. We're not going to ignore Tinsel, but for all intents and purposes, pretend Tinsel's roughly right here in the foreground, kind
Mm-hmm.
of and they parked far away. But as you can see, already in the scene now, we have Calamity and Chaos there in the scene. If I zoom in, these are all elements I borrowed from the previous animatic when it was just Chaos,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
just Leon running around. So I'm borrowing a lot of work that I've already done. So let's see if I click into here. There's Leon here. Here's a fire. The fire itself is animated now.
Great.
So this animation, I'm still going to tweak this a little bit. I would consider this rough because and this is where, you know, philosophically speaking, as when we're in production, you want to know do you pursue perfection or do you just pursue production? Well,
Mm-hmm.
for this fire, it's not perfection; it's production. But there's some things I want to do to it for later to kind of stylize it more towards what I want in Calamity's world. But for all intents and purposes, we got this going on to help say, okay, this is moving. It's clunky, but it's what I want right now. Just to kind of say as placeholder or for blocking in theater, we got this now too. We have a prop.
Right. 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 Okay.
Um, As you can see, like there's some subtle movements here. So again, when you see the orange, the light reflection on Leon, we're gonna still do the same thing here with Calamity. But again, I'm thinking about, as we talked about last week, doing that After Effects instead.
Mm-hmm.
So everything will be this kind of flat, almost rough looking shapes for now, animation wise. And we'll eventually get to what Leon looks like, what I did in the older thing for Calamity at one certain point. So that means it's like if you look at Leon here,
Mm-hmm.
he's pretty much all in black except for the fire giving any kind of light hint to his figure. I guess we'll do the same. We're gonna have to do the same thing for Calamity, but you know, from an artistic point of view, we want. I mean, okay, let me ask you this: as a viewer, do you like the fact that this is all black silhouette for Leon, and we're going to handle the same way with Calamity, or do we want to hint at colors already of their actual character models, and then give it away, and show them right off the bat? Like, I don't know, are we revealing, or are we going to hide in the shadow? What's your Give me your opinion?
I mean, I think my opinion is Leon Chaos looks a lot better than Calamity
Yeah,
right now, and obviously no lighting work has been done on her. But I think
yeah,
opening in deep silhouette is probably the better way to go, especially given that when we get to the next shot and their hands come out to the flames, and you see
mm-hmm.
Leon's green hands and Calamity's purple hands, it makes it more impactful if you don't already see her wearing her hoodie at the
Yeah.
top of it. So I think her in silhouette is probably thematically it's more in line with where Leon is, but it's also more makes the reveal in the next scene a little more impactful.
Yeah, and see that was a thought I had when I originally did Leon here in silhouette. Is I thought it would be much more striking and more dramatic to have him in all black, and then when he does reveal, then you actually see color.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was the intention I had back in the day,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, it sounds like
I think that holds. I mean, I
yeah,
think we should treat it
so,
the
yeah,
same way for Calamity.
yeah. So let's pretend that Calamity will also be in this heavy black with a little bit of orange, reflecting on her.
Mm-hmm.
And we cut to and so let me zoom back out again a little bit so we can kind of get a sense of this as where it's at. So yeah, you pan over, slowly zoom in. It'll kind of do a transition to kind of give us an excuse for a better cut. Let's
Mm-hmm.
go in tighter. Now this is running a little slow because it's not rendered. It's actually doing real time on my laptop's
Right.
machine, so it's going extra slow. So it's not going to take this long in real.
Yeah.
All right. So here we are now on the overhead shot of Leon. And now, again, this is still kind of rough, but yeah, so this is going to be that he's also going to be in this kind of treatment of this kind of darkness,
Mm-hmm.
where his ape that he has, his knees, and Calamity will also be the same. She'll be kind of in the same spot like this. And here's where he'll put his hands up towards the fire and he'll reveal the color of his hands here.
Mm-hmm.
For fun, I also have the old one here to show how we handled it in the original. Let me turn off the sound there. Okay. So there he is. He's there, and he puts his hands out here, all in the same shot.
Right.
I think with when we added Calamity into this, when we actually started creating this universe for Calamity, I want to have an excuse to have Calamity also in the shot, as if she's getting a point of view of what Leon's doing,
Mm-hmm.
which will help push her along in this next shot, where she will eventually do that as well.
Mm-hmm. And this is all timed to the music, correct?
Yes, it will be timing music, but right now I'm just getting the animation, and I can always kind of
Okay.
push around the
All right.
timing later. But there's no sound for right now. But
That's fine. You're working on the.
yeah, let's hear what sound. Is it too loud on your end if I play it?
No, no, it's fine. It's fine for me.
Let's
I
let's,
can't
let's
speak to anybody on Facebook who's watching, but for me, it's fine.
All right. Well, anybody who happens to be watching, turn on your volume a little bit if it's too loud. I apologize for that. But anyways, let's just watch it with sound for fun
Okay.
from the beginning, and we can talk about it again. Again, it's not perfect. It's still timing. There's still going to be some timing issues, but let's just give it a shot. All right. So imagine crickets. And then it does this. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's where, yeah. So yeah, the timing's roughly there.
Yeah. Yeah.
We can always massage a little bit later. But yeah, so that's kind of where we're at. I mean, I'm at the point now where I got to refine Leon's hands here. These hands are wrong. His
Mm-hmm.
pose for the shot is wrong, but I have to just tweak that a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Calamity's built. Her whole rig is built for this shot, so I can animate that as well. Something I wanted to show you though,
Mm-hmm.
as I was working on her last night. Um, okay, so here's her head. Hang on a sec. Let me see if I can turn off the background real quick so it's clear to see. Let me see here. All right. There we go. And I'm going to change this background to a more neutral color. Let's go with, yeah, that'll work. Okay. So here we have Calamity here. I've broken down her body part. So she's got her arm, her body, her knees, everything's here. But then as I was working on her, okay, she's over the fire. She has her hoodie. She has her hood pulled over her head. We know what she looks like with
Mm-hmm.
with her egg-shaped head. I have when I was a kid, I still do this now. I don't know why I'm saying when I was a kid. I still do this kind of crazy stuff. But when I wear a hoodie, sometimes, especially if I want to hide my face or something for fun, or if a friend of mine has a hoodie or my sister has a hoodie, sometimes I'd pull on the drawstrings and
Mm-hmm.
then kind of wrap them up in the hoodie.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I thought, being a teenager, that's what I would do sometimes. What if we did this instead? Where she's actually just wrapped up her face in the hoodie like this, and she's just kind of chilling like this. I know it looks really strange, but it's something I would totally do. Like if I'm just like frustrated or bored, and I just want to just pull on the strings. What's your gut reaction to this? Seeing it this way, and she's standing in by the fire like this.
My gut reaction is that in that kind of lighting, it makes it look like she's a head, like that's actually her head, and she's I don't know,
Uh,
like a seal or something like that, and the drawstrings
yeah,
are
yeah,
whiskers, right?
yeah.
It
Uh-huh.
doesn't. I think from the standpoint of making it a readable silhouette, I agree
Mm-hmm.
with you. I mean, I know I've done it. I think everybody who's ever worn a hoodie has done that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I think just from the standpoint of making the silhouette readable,
Yeah,
it makes more sense to just treat it like a regular
like
hood.
a regular good old fashioned hoodie.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean that's what my instinct says.
yeah. And that's I had fun doing it, but yeah, that's where I'm kind of at too. Is like for all intents and purposes for functionality.
But I mean,
I
I
get
think. Oh, I'm just go ahead.
no, no, go ahead.
I
Um,
think your head is absolutely in the right spot. I just think that we would need to motivate that move a little bit to establish the context for the silhouette. And so I would imagine we would want to see Calamity go
do it
into
first.
that pose,
Yeah, yeah.
right? And then once the context is there, then your silhouette reads okay. But I mean, just imagining a first time viewer as we come in, and all you're going to see is this harsh orange and black silhouette. And you're going to
Hmm.
see what looks to be kind of like some sort of aquatic mammal with whiskers. At least that's what it reads
Yeah,
like to me,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Um,
Yeah. And for me, a part of me likes that idea, but also I want to take a. I see where you're coming from. I want to take consideration for the viewer because it's not just for me
right, right,
and the beauty of it.
yeah,
Um, I do want to make sure it's understandable that this is a person with a hoodie because we've never met her before. Do we really want to abstract and go really and strange and hope that people also are just as immature as me and pull the hoodie all the way over to this and are recognizing the shape?
yeah.
It could be too foreign and too abstract.
I think at the start, again, once it's motivated, then I think you can. It's a really
Yeah,
strong go to though.
we could actually, who knows? Like down the line as we do more episodes, there could be an episode where somebody actually pulls the hoodie and we could be drawing back to this, and anybody who's watching this understands the inside joke. But who knows? We'll bookmark that for later, I
Yeah,
think.
I mean, I think we should bookmark it for later. But for the sake of just viewability, I think just going with a regular hoodie silhouette is the way to go right now.
Yeah, yeah. But anyways, yeah. So of course, like as you animate, sometimes you just kind of get these weird, wonky
Oh
ideas.
yeah,
Like,
sure.
yeah. But that's kind of where I'm at. So I'm gonna start. I'll start animating this next pose here. Well,
Okay.
actually, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna adjust Leon's hands here, actually, because that's always been bugging me too. Going over here, and I'm gonna change these hands over to something a little more palatable to um,
Now
heating your
the
fire.
okay.
Go ahead.
And I was just gonna say he's the. Could you take? I feel like the question will answer itself if I just let you do your job. I was gonna say, go into a little bit of detail about what you feel looks wrong about the hands, but I feel like the answer will come with a little bit of patience at this point.
Oh yeah, I mean, but I can explain it. I mean, you know what? I failed to have this up, but I should really have the animatic up. But really, what I had in the original drawings was the hands were like kind of
Just straightforward.
just straight up and down,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. That's what I
you
meant.
know,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I'm just gonna do that here because like these are his claws, like he's ready to grab something. It's the wrong pose.
Mm-hmm.
I want to make sure the arc of his hands are doing that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All I'm doing is just going to tweak them just a bit. Um, as long as I get the silhouette right, that's all I really care. So all I'm doing right here is I'm just dragging paint around. I'm actually the drawing was is already in my head because I did it in the board.
Mm-hmm.
All I'm doing now is I've already drawn it once, so it's in my. It's a really popular term called visual library of sorts, but the visual library uh, is in my head for this particular scene of what I wanted Leon's hands to kind of look like. So that's kind of what I'm doing right now.
So you're saying you've got sort of a mental image of what Leon's hands
Exactly.
in this pose, and now you're just kind of bringing it to life on the screen.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
And now are you just tweaking splines here? Is that how you're managing the edits to his hand shapes?
Yes, that's actually yeah, that's exactly what it is. Flash, the way it works is it's a vector-based program when you're
Mm-hmm.
drawing stuff natively in it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just the same as it doesn't behave. It doesn't. You can manipulate stuff under the same parameters, but with different user interface as you go. But if you could easily do this in Illustrator as well,
Mm-hmm.
playing with handles and then tweaking the handles back and forth until you get what you want.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I'm using the Alt key and dragging back and forth along the shape when I want to taper something off or pull something. I already know because I've used Flash for so long. I'm used to seeing in my head again. I can see kind of where I can manipulate stuff already without having to play with it too long. So like right here, I'm going to add an extra point that you
Mm-hmm.
don't really see, but I've just made it so that way
Mm-hmm.
now I can actually tweak something right there if I want to.
So,
Yeah.
what kind of while you're adding Leon's hands, what kind
Mhm.
of whiskey are you enjoying while you're playing Red Dead Redemption 2?
It's um it's a whiskey from Scotland. I wish I had the name in front of me, but I don't. It's from the Valley of the Deer. And
Valley of the Deer. Yeah, okay.
Valley of the Deer. It's some sort of Scottish name.
Yeah.
Um, I'll let you guys I'll let you know next week. I'm gonna look at
All
I
right.
just I mean I don't want to leave the screen and go
No, no,
oh
yeah, no. I'm gonna hold you to it though. Just
yes, but
FYI. So,
no, but it's pretty good. But again, I'm not a seasoned whiskey drinker at all. So I mean, there could be people that are going to be very insulted that I even
so
are
you
saying.
did you just duplicate the hand there, like you've done the work?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So what happened was is if you look here, so I have a hand here, but also if I look at my properties panel, I have a an instance. It's called. It lives in the library of the Flash file. So CC hand 01B is what I called it,
Okay.
and was a CC. Here I'll show you.
And
CC hand one. That's the claw one. Now I
yeah.
just became a new one. Now here it is. I swap it out. There we go.
And so for
Oh, cool.
those watching, CC is not an Adobe nomenclature thing. That stands for Chaos Chameleon, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
That
That's important that we clarify that.
yeah,
Correct.
yeah, that's an important point, I feel.
Yeah. Um,
So you say you're not a regular Scotch drinker, but then you're drinking Scotch though. Uh,
yeah.
Was it just that you needed something a little harder than beer while playing Red Dead Redemption 2? That's
You,
what you
God,
needed to get through it.
you know me so well. How did you? Yeah, I get so angry with the game. I need something to dull my anger while I'm playing it. And heck, Arthur, the character in the game, Arthur Morgan, he's drinking Kentucky bourbon, whatever, and all
Yeah.
kinds of gin, rum, whatever. And hey, I might as well as the player, if I'm running him around and getting frustrated, I might as well have a little bit and take the edge off. It helped immensely last night
So
with
I think,
my
I mean, I don't think you could do it, but what a great pre-order bonus, right? Like, you get the game, and you also get a bottle of the main character's favorite scotch,
yeah,
right?
that would be hilarious.
And
That
then
would be awesome.
yeah,
I'd be
and then you get to the scenes where he's like at a bar or something, and the game actually pauses. Please, please get your glass of scotch ready, you know, and you have to drink the
yeah.
scotch in time with the cutscene just to really add to the immersion of the experience.
Yeah, it actually, what's funny though? So obviously if you're younger, you can't be doing this, but if you're at drinking age, I do recommend it. It's kind of nice. It does add some authenticity to.
Yeah, yeah, drinking it responsibly, like not throwing down shots or anything like that.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. Have you ever mixed a little bit of alcohol with your gaming before?
I mean, I feel like that there's an obvious answer for that, but yes, I
Yeah.
have I have enjoyed a drink or two while playing video games.
Okay.
I my go to, it depends. I mean, like I'm playing Animal Crossing right now,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
you get a nice woody oaky Merlot, and you sip that while you're fishing off of the pier, searching for that tuna. There's something
Hmm.
there's something nice about that. It's relaxing, just sort of enjoying the sound of the waves, and then you land that big old tuna and you sell that bad boy for 10,000 bells at Nook's shop. I mean, man alive, it's a good feeling.
Did you say it was a Merlot you were doing?
Yeah, I like Merlots.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny how Sideways really ruined the rep for Merlot, all because of Giamatti saying he hates Merlot.
I
But
know.
Merlot's good. It's
I
good
know.
stuff. I don't understand why it gets such a. I mean, I do understand why it gets a bad rep. I really do think it's because of Sideways, but I'm more of a Pinot Noir kind of guy myself. But I like Merlots. I really enjoy them too.
Yeah, I
Um,
like wine.
yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. At the end of the day, yes, that's the ultimate. That's the ultimate. Yeah.
So you
No.
have it looks like you have Leon's hands right. So you're moving on to Calamity now.
Yeah, I'm gonna flesh her in. I'm not completely happy with Leon's hands, but it's enough to make me feel better than
Get
what
them
we got.
blocked in. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll tweak them a little bit later. I don't know if we'll do it for the next cat our next stream. I mean, I might move on to something else for us to talk about because I don't know. I don't want to keep staying on the same scene every week.
Yeah, I
Uh,
mean, I understand that. And we don't always have to do animation either. Like, just as a preview, this Thursday, I'm going to highlight a few sound effects that I've been working on and a few pieces of dialogue that we've recorded recently on the Patreon site. So maybe for next Monday, we can discuss more the sound design work that's been going into the show that you're not really seeing right now because we're still in the early stages of animation production.
mm,
But that's something that we can think about. We can discuss.
yeah, I think that'd be great. Actually, that'd be cool to kind of. I like the fact that we can mix it up a little bit and kind of talk about all phases of what we're doing.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's something that we can play around with. We don't always have to be animation centric. I mean, it makes my job easy because all I have to do is sit and ask questions, and I don't have to bring anything interesting to the table. So
Oh no, no, you already brought in plenty of interest with your tuna hunting.
yeah, oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, it is.
That stuff does help.
There is
It
so
gives
much
me,
Animal Crossing to go around right now.
plus it gives me motivation for the drinking that's going to be happening tonight as I play Red Dead again
Oh, that's
tonight.
true. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's all good. Um, would you consider yourself almost done with Animal Crossing now? You were telling me offline that you had some friends that have already kind of blasted through the entire game. I mean, isn't the game like what 2 weeks old? I mean,
Yeah,
really?
I mean my counter says I've been playing it for 17 days. So
Okay.
it's an interesting thing. I mean, I mean I find myself being guilty of it too. Games in my experience are there's almost this primal urge to conquer them, right? Like
Yep. Hmm.
You know, and it's hard to turn something like that off for a game like Animal Crossing, which almost begs to be played in smaller doses. I mean, that's really the intent of the designers, is to just enjoy it in smaller doses. But you know, how do you tell a community of players, hey, don't rush through this, right?
Yeah.
When I mean, most games are designed to be conquered. And a game like Animal Crossing 2, which at its sort of mechanical level is about grinding, you know, catching
Yeah.
enough fish to pay off your loan so you can get the next biggest loan, and collecting the items to put in your house and that kind of stuff. The,
Mhm.
the core loop is just grinding bells so you can unlock more items to play with. Um,
Mhm.
how do you not kind of just fall back on that instinct to conquer a game when that is the core loop? Um, and you know, I looked at my playtime, and I'm no slouch, right? I mean, I'm
Yeah.
at almost 100 hours on it at this point.
Yeah, I would bet.
Yeah, I mean, in 17 days, or I guess 18 approximately now, I'm, yeah, close to 100 hours. But I was looking at a couple of my friends. I'm half as deep into the game as they are in terms of just
That's crazy.
sunk
Unbelievable.
hours. Yeah, I have friends who are almost over 200 at this point. um, you know, it's just really, people play it really really intensely, and it's hard for me to keep focused and motivated on it long enough to play that much. I mean, I thought I was overdoing it at 100 hours, and I'm not even like I'm not even in the top 5 of my friends in terms of committed time to the game. So
Wow.
but you know, I just, it's funny too, because you pause a couple of times, you know, you get frustrated. Why haven't I caught this tuna yet? And then you go, wait, why does it matter? It's like, what am I chasing here? You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but you know, it's Animal Crossing. It's a great experience, and
Hmm.
no matter how you play it, I mean, that's the nice thing about it too. Is, you know, while I'm not going to do any time traveling to fast forward in time to unlock the larger version of Nook's shop, it's fine if you do, right? If that's what you're looking
Yeah.
for. You know,
Hmm.
streamers, I feel, need to do that because they want to have new content to play, and if they're playing the game in real time with everybody else, it's hard to get ahead of the curve on that. So,
Hmm.
you know, it's really a game where you define your own enjoyment, more so than I think, like a first person shooter. You play first person shooter. If you don't want to shoot monsters, or you know, Nazis or whatever,
Hmm.
then maybe you shouldn't be, um, you know, playing that game. But Animal Crossing, because it's so open, and they just kind of give you a suite of tools to play with, then great. And that's not to say Animal Crossing is the only one that does that, but I mean, I think it's a really great example of a game that's very open and has a lot of ways to really play it and enjoy it, you know, and it's not quite as focused, design focused, as something like a traditional shooter is.
Mm.
But
Yeah, I've always seen iterations of Animal Crossing all through these years, and again, I know I've always picked your brain about it. I never got into it. The only time I did play it, I think, was back on, I don't, did it come out on the GameCube?
yeah, it was, the first iteration was on the GameCube. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's when I last played it. And all I did was I took my character and just dug holes around the first neighbor I saw, and then left them there for days. That's all
Well,
I did.
well, you would definitely find enjoyment in the current version, at least. I mean, to an extent. I mean, obviously they've wised up, and they've found ways to keep players from torturing their poor residents. But
Oh, see, there's
um,
a reason I want to play it then. You
no,
know,
but you can still. I mean, like, your citizens still walk around and that kind of stuff, and you can craft items like iron bars, and you can place them in a square, and you can place them around one of your citizens and trap them in a cage, and then use the photo mode to take pictures of them trapped in a cage. If that's the kind of thing, if Animal Crossing citizen torture is really what you're looking for, well, you know, you have the tools to do that.
yeah. Well, I mean, I guess as long as there's an ability to do that, I guess I might come back to it. But yeah, I don't know. I guess for me, it's just I wanted the potential to be mean. I know
Yeah.
I don't know what it says about me and humanity. I feel kind of guilty about
You're
that.
in good company, I
Oh
feel.
man.
Yeah, I mean, like, the levels of trolling that you can accomplish in Animal Crossing is, It's pretty impressive. I mean, some of the videos that you'll see online of husbands and wives playing together, and the husband will shake down a wasp and run away and let his wife get stung by it. I mean, it's
Dude, that sounds hilarious. I mean, like I just want something to kind of help, take it, just distract from my own,
yeah.
day.
Well, Animal Crossing is really I mean, given the number of people that I have on my friends list who are playing it, I feel like there's an awful lot of people who are utilizing Animal Crossing to kind of escape from their grind right now.
Hmm. Yeah, especially well in today's climate. I mean, it
Yeah.
definitely would help to have something like that.
But so you're right now you're just trying to get her arm poses correct for the fire.
Yeah, you're gonna see here shortly. I'm just doing again. This is pretty rough, but
Mm-hmm.
it's giving me the timing I want. So we'll check it out here shortly. Um,
So are you posing? Are you setting her in keyframes and then letting Flash interpolate between the frames, or how are you setting
yeah,
up
so
these
case,
animations?
in this case, I'm just if you see here on the time up on top where my mouse is at,
Yeah.
I'm setting keyframes. So in this case, she started out roughly here
Mm-hmm.
in the break, and then I added like 10 frames of animation here.
Mm-hmm.
And in those, I kind of planned ahead. Like I thought, okay, she's going to start here
Mm-hmm.
in this pose, and she's going to end here.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just going to do whatever I need to do to get her to get her to this pose. And here we are. So I do a little bit of I'm going to do a little bit of an antic first,
Mm-hmm.
which is just sort of like a preparatory pre-move for the animation for her to kind of get into it, and then she'll settle onto her final pose here.
Oh, I see. I see.
And then I could now right now everything here is grayed,
Mm-hmm.
but I could just if I wanted to really if I don't want it to be snappy and I want it to kind of feel more
Easing
smooth,
into it and that kind of
yeah,
stuff. Yeah.
I could do this and just kind of do a classic twain, and then she can kind of whoop, kind of it kind of massages it in. So I don't know if I really like to do tweens everywhere, but I'd like to use it as enhancements to other stuff while hand drawing other positions. It just really depends. But for right now, I'm seeing how much I can get away with doing it this way first,
Mm-hmm.
and then I can always kind of play with timing later.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so you can also still tweak stuff even more. You can kind of favor it to be the starting post here, and then kind of make it feel a little bit more slower on the outside there. Or like so, let's see, watch it here. See how it's kind of there's a certain
Yeah. Yeah.
here, or I could go the other direction altogether and go and Flash kind of for some reason I don't know where they're at now with their ease in and ease out, but in traditional animation it's like the opposite for what it is. So I just play with the numbers until I get what I want.
Sure. Right.
But here I think I like this a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like more snappier to get her up there. I
Mm-hmm.
could probably massage these frames to kind of come in a little bit sooner, so I'll scoot those back a bit. Yeah, that feels a little bit better. Okay, so now if we watch it here, okay, so Leon puts his hands out, it zooms out. The computer's taking too long to catch up, but if I was to turn off the background, it'll.
Right. I see that. Yes.
But
Yeah.
yeah, but you get the idea.
Yeah. Yeah. Very interesting. Very cool.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah. So we got that. We got the scene sort of laid out rough wise. I mean, I still got to massage a little bit, but yeah, it's there. It's getting there.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, we're at over 30 minutes, so I think that that's a great stopping point. Maybe next week, before we jump into, if we decide to jump into sound effects or something else, we can take a look and see progress on that before we move on, just to show viewers how things are progressing.
Mm-hmm.
But otherwise, thanks for the conversation, and I'll let you get back to focusing on work. I know it's a bit of a distraction to work and. Um,
No, it's fun hanging out. It's fun. It was fun talking games and stuff too. It's all good.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's
So,
funny.
all
Yeah.
right. Well, I'm gonna let you go and do your work, and I will talk to you soon.
All right. Well, take care, and we'll catch up later.
Yeah, catch up later, man. All right, so the stream is ended. I had to wait an extra 10 seconds for it to do that. Let me stop the recording.